Here we go. Welcome to Colorado Inside Out Postgame, a special web-exclusive production here on Channel 12. Let's get a quick take on the ballot issues ranging from GMO labeling to gambling at horse tracks and the down-ticket statewide races, which have all been beneficiaries of millions of outside dollars. Patty Calhoun from Westward, take your pick among the different races you think made an impact in Colorado. Where do you think it might go?
Well, I was talking before on the show just about taking us back to March when Bill Prey jumped in and we're all yawning like, oh, nothing's going to happen there. Think about at the same time how many initiatives we thought we were going to have on the ballot. It looked like we were going to have a dozen involving fracking or corporatehood or something along that environmental line. And instead we wind up with just these four, all of which, except for the John Caldera measure, I think will be going down. And when you look at how much money has been spent on these two, on these also, not John Caldera's, but 105, the GMO measure, and the 68, the Racino measure, I mean, just huge, huge amounts of money that don't seem to have moved the needle at all.
David Kolpel from the Independence Institute and DU Law School. I've been intrigued with the different ballot issues, the various campaigns. The GMO campaign has brought in millions against it from Monsanto and other big companies. And then even personhood, Amendment 67 has kept really quiet. They changed the wording of the proposal. You've seen a couple of things from the no on 67, but pro on 67 it's almost as if that campaign doesn't exist out there. What do you make of the four ballot issues and some of the down-ticket statewide races?
The GMO thing is going to go to a landslide defeat, and that is going to have national implications to the benefit of science. 97% of scientists know that this anti-GMO stuff is bogus. The personhood thing is going to go down to catastrophic defeat as well, and I hope it is not heard from again for a generation at least. Its only function is to get Republicans in primaries to commit to it, to make sure they then can't win the general election. Ken Buck is the platonic ideal of that. The gambling thing will also go down, and it's an interesting thing that the limited legalization of gambling in Colorado in the three mountain towns has now created the financial base to oppose any other further expansion of gambling, which is great. And this was particularly bad because it would have given a monopoly to one company in a geographic area. And yes, the Independence Institute's initiative, which has the least spending on it of anything other than just the money to get on the ballot, is going to go to a landslide victory because people think that union and school board negotiations ought to be done in public.
Eric Soderman, political analyst. We were able to host the debates for three of the ballot measures here in our studio together, and the down-ticket statewide races, Attorney General, Secretary of State, State Treasurer, even Lieutenant Governor. Anything from all those that stands out to you?
Oh, let me just go to the ballot issues. I largely agree with the analysis we've heard on the other side of the table. I think John Caldera finally, all these years later, might have a winner. You know, what's the old line about a stuck clock is right twice a day. And I think that is positive. I think some of the fears about 104 are overblown. And to the proponents' credit, they did it statutorily instead of constitutionally. So if there is a flaw in it or a wrinkle in it, the legislature can go and fix that. With regard to the personhood amendment, thank God they put that on the ballot, because if it wasn't on the ballot, this state would have had no discussion in this campaign of reproductive rights. I mean, it would have just been, it would have been completely missing from the dialogue out there. With regard to personhood, I keep thinking of the Little League, the mercy rule in Little League baseball. And maybe we need to invoke that mercy rule here, that if something loses badly, as it will for either the third or fourth time in a row, maybe it just needs to go away. Much else, but we'll save it for next week in the post-election.
Penfield Tate, Attorney Greenberg Traurig, also a longtime state lawmaker. The down-ticket races, the ballot issues, and the fact that we weren't experiencing a fractastrophe because those ballot issues exited the poll early with the compromise. What do you think?
Well, you know, I agree with the analysis on the ballot issues. I think the three major ones are going to go down to a stunning defeat, and I do think that the John Caldera measure will probably survive. It'll be interesting to see how large that margin is. Some of the down-ticket races I think are interesting. Attorney General, I would have thought was even up, but the Republican AG's Association dumped a ton of money behind Cynthia Kaufman very late. too bad instead of promoting her, a lot of the ads were just more the hate your neighbor garbage kind of stuff. Don Quick is a decent guy who's worked hard. He's a solid lawyer. He's been a solid prosecutor. He didn't raise a ton of money. He's got an uphill slug, and I don't think he gets there. Similarly, Joe Neguse ran what I thought was the best campaign ad of the cycle because it was positive. It just talked about why he wanted to get elected. It's all a function of if people are paying attention and how far down ballot they actually bother to mark their ballot, and whether he can get there or whether Wayne Williams out of Colorado Springs is going to survive. The regent races will be interesting also, but those are more driven county by county because they're in the congressional districts. But it is interesting just simply to note that depending on how that turns out, the balance of power on the CU Board of Regents could shift from Republican to Democrat, which would have some interesting repercussions for Bruce Benson.
It should be very interesting indeed. Be sure to tune in next Friday. We'll have our post-election special here on Colorado Inside Out. And, of course, you watch us before Election Day. Check us out on Election Night. We will be offering 3 hours of live coverage. You won't want to miss that. That is all the time we have for Colorado Inside Out postgame this week. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. For everyone here at CPT12.org, I'm Dominic Dezzutti. Thanks for watching.